today. We're happy to answer any questions, and we would welcome anybody else to jump in with an answer if you have some other ideas. Yeah.
My question is, what is your policy on allowing employees to identify themselves on their personal web pages, blogs, Facebook, Twitter accounts, and still comment on things that may be relevant to the organization? Or do you require complete separation so that their personal lives don't reflect in any kind of way on the organization?
We have kind of a quiet, silent social media policy for that use. It's kind of like, just don't be dumb. We want our employees and our volunteers to distinguish themselves as employees of Girls Inc. or volunteers for Girls Inc. But we also make sure that they are aware of all of the security settings that they should have in place on their own personal profile so that only their friends can see photos and videos that they're posting. And we just keep reminding our employees to keep in mind that they are representing us. But we don't follow them to make sure they're not putting up anything inappropriate. We want Girls Inc. to have a face, not just to be Girls Inc. So we do encourage our staff members to be online, to repost our information, like it. If they're involved, our volunteers become more involved. So really our staff is our first step to getting our name out to a broader audience.
We have developed a policy, and I would suggest that everyone have something written down. Some of the legal sessions that I've been to do advise to have something, and I think we have one, but we haven't exactly figured out how to integrate that to our current staff, and then or to make it part of the staff hiring process. So I would advise creating something like that, and there are a lot of really good resources out there for that too.
United Way is hosting a seminar on nonprofit and law, or social media and law. Next Wednesday, and I think it's pretty affordable for United Way agencies, and you can find that on their website.
Speaking to that as well, as opposed to just employees, what about the public at large that might be commenting on something that you put on Facebook that might be inappropriate? How do you deal with those cases?
Well, we think it's really important if something is said that might be in disagreement with something we've already posted. We like challenging ideas, and our philosophy is that if you just leave it there and you don't respond, it does more bad than good. So in those circumstances, we would respond back if someone was disagreeing with something we had said. We do, because we're an organization that is promoting the development and empowerment of girls, we are sensitive to that. So we are aware of who we are following, who is following us, and what content we're linking to so that it's an appropriate connection. We do that because our funders often pay attention to things like that. So we want to make sure we're not connecting with parties that would reflect poorly on us.
We do have a blog policy that includes sort of a comment policy that does say if a comment is pure negative, it has no questioning or no value, then we will delete it. And so users have access to that policy on our blog, but not through Facebook or Twitter necessarily.
And we will block users on Twitter that follow us that, like, because our name is Girls Inc., sometimes we'll get some people interested in some other girl-related things. So we will block those kind of people. And there's a lot of trolls on YouTube, so we don't really use YouTube to connect with people. So we always have comments turned off on YouTube because we just embed those on our site to share with people too. So I mean, you just have to be aware of the people that are on the networks that you are, because if there's a lot of trolls, then you're probably going to get comments, no matter who you are, that you don't like.
Let me just add that anybody that hasn't actually created an account, we just did one for AFP, so we're now official. It took 5 minutes, like the time it took them to walk through one slide. So if that's your big barrier, worrying about how long it takes to sign up, don't let it be.
Great, now we can reference AFP. I was looking for that this morning.
Got it out.
Other questions? Come on. We're prepared. We're ready. Bring it on.
Do you proactively go out and talk about subjects? I mean, there was all the controversy about the actors and actresses from Glee, and
Yeah.
was it too mature and all of that? I mean, would you get involved with something like that?
probably not something that controversial, and that wouldn't necessarily, what would come of that sort of a thing. We could
Okay.
put in our 2 cents, but would anyone then follow us or care about what we are doing? Maybe not that particular instance, but bullying, all of the bullying examples, we
Okay.
have jumped right on board for that issue because that is something that we care passionately about.
Okay.
Media representations of women, yes, but I think for that particular issue, it was a maturity level. We hope our girls aren't looking at GQ anyway. But so media representations of women is an issue that we would access, but we really have to think about what's the end result of us interacting.
Yeah. And if we can connect it back to one of our programs and how you would address it in our own community, then yes, we would respond to something.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned discover, that word working much better than check out or check this out, that kind of thing. Are there other instances where you've tried different things, and are there certain buzzwords that you found that work better than others?
Meet.
Meet
Gabby
was probably the
Benson.
first one we found.
Right.
Yeah.
Meet a new staff member, meet a volunteer, meet a funder. Anytime we use the word meet, it gets a ton of clicks.
That could be
And there are a
going
lot of
down.
articles on words that work, but I mean, it really depends on who your audience is, what's going to work, so you kind of have
Sure.
to do your own testing.
And that's why Totalizer is useful, because then you can see exactly what words are working best. And I do encourage, if you have a post, post it multiple times. For Twitter, it's okay. Facebook, you don't want to do that. And with Hootsuite, you can schedule them. So I'm going to do 2 tweets about this post today and 1 tomorrow, and then you can see even time of day what's more effective for your audience. I think, okay, over here first.
Considering that, culture is brand and your brand is culture, prior to getting into this, did you spend any time at all in regards to, there's probably a disparity of people who might, how they might speak, how they might write, and how they might speak with 2 different things. And did you do anything as far as affirmation about your organization and the core resident values that are inherent before you entered this at all?
Girls Inc. maintains a value statement on our website. We use that with all of our board development. When we're doing strategic planning, we have a set values that we always stay to, and that was a consideration when we were doing our original objectives.
Okay.
Have you interacted with any of your actual girls? I mean, for the groups that work with maybe sensitive populations, that can be a little awkward, either on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, if someone chimes in and says, hey, maybe I love your services, or hey, where were you Friday?
More on Facebook than on Twitter. Our girls are more likely to be on Facebook, and actually more of our alumni. Most of our programs end at about age 14, so the girls who have been members at our club, 2 prior clubs, are following us on Facebook and commenting on that sort of thing. We do get parents that respond. We had a event in April that we were posting pictures of the girls throughout the day at this event, and we would have parents respond back like, hey, I'm so glad my girl's having a great time. So that's nice for us to have that feedback from a parent standpoint, because that hasn't been an audience that we were really targeting, but it is one that's following us.
Right. We considered girls as an audience when we first started, but we pretty much eliminated that, mostly because our girls were too young really to be connecting on social media, and because our national organization actually already has sort of their own social network for girls that we wanted to promote. That they screen girls to make sure they're really girls, so that it's a very safe space for those girls.
We don't particularly engage in conversation though with our girls.
So, how much time? I mean, that's always the shortage everywhere is time. How much time on a weekly basis is put into this? And if there's more than one person doing it, what's the cumulative? How much time does it take to really do this well?
I would say there's not a special number necessarily. On average, I probably spend about 15 minutes in the morning, mid-morning, maybe check it at lunch for 5 minutes, and then maybe 15 minutes in the afternoon. But again, if there's a conversation going on, then that's more time. Or if I know what I'm going to post and there really isn't much activity, then it takes 5 minutes, in the morning instead of 15. So you really have to find what's manageable for you. But I really think it can be done twice a day, 15 minutes, or 5 minutes, depending on how much time or how involved you want to be. You could spend hours looking at the metrics and conversations.